Hi everybody, welcome to the CTE Makeover Challenge Lesson 0 Orientation and Overview webinar. Before we go through the disclaimer, I'm going to ask everybody if they can please put their microphones on mute, and we'll hold questions to the end of the presentation. And just a reminder that this webinar is being recorded and will be archived and made available on ctemakeoverchallenge.com. Ed Prizes, including the CTE Makeover Challenge, is a project of the U.S. Department of Education and is administered by Luminary Labs. This presentation contains information and resources from public and private organizations that may be useful to the reader. Inclusion of this information does not constitute an endorsement by ED or Luminary Labs of any products or services offered or views expressed. This presentation also contains hyperlinks and URLs created and maintained by outside organizations, which are provided for the reader's convenience. ED and Luminary the accuracy of the information contained therein. The announcement of requirements and registration for the Career and Technical Education Makeover Challenge published in the Federal Register Notice on March 9, 2016 contains all of the rules, terms, and conditions for the challenge and is the authoritative document governing the challenge. So now that that's out of the way, my name is Jana Gilbert and I am Head of Client Services at Luminary Labs. And I just wanted to say congratulations to each of you on making it to the CTE Makeover Bootcamp. We were so thrilled to see the many incredible schools participate in the first round. In fact, we have invited 643 schools from all 50 states and Washington, D.C. to participate in this bootcamp. You are truly part of something very special, which we hope will advance making in our schools across the country. We are inspired by your entries and your enthusiasm, so keep sharing on social media, and we can't wait to see what you make, break, invent, and create during bootcamp and beyond. The U.S. Department of Education is proud to be supporting President Obama's Nation of Makers initiative through this work, and we at Luminary Labs are here to make sure you have the resources and support you need to get the most out of this effort. Today's webinar is meant to provide you with an orientation to the CTE Makeover Challenge as you get started with the bootcamp. Specifically, we will provide an overview of the CTE Makeover Challenge timeline and prizes, discuss the bootcamp in detail, the format, the lessons, where all materials can be found, as well as the second round submission, also called the blueprint submission. We're going to discuss the Makerspace build-up phase for prize winners and those who don't win prizes, and provide you with the passcode needed to complete your blueprint. And we will also conclude with answering any questions you may have at this point. So let's get started. To review where we are in the process, this week marks the official start of CTE Makeover Bootcamp. The bootcamp runs through May 22nd, and will conclude with the entry of your second round or blueprint submission. In June, prizes will be awarded to selected schools, we'll call those honorees, based on the criteria outlined on the challenge website, and we'll walk through those later today. This summer, schools who win prizes will be asked to bring their designs to life during the Makerspace build-out phase. We invite all to join in as well, and we'll describe later how the bootcamp can help prepare for either scenario. Finally, ED is planning an honoree showcase where we will celebrate the build-outs at World Maker Faire this October. Again, all teams are welcome to join in regardless of whether or not they have won prizes. Speaking of prizes, ED is thrilled to be offering selected schools with $200,000 in cash prizes, as well as over $350,000 of incredible in-kind prizes generously donated from our sponsors. These exciting in-kind prizes are sure to enhance your makerspace and include products and equipment such as MakerBot 3D printers, HandyBot CNC machines, Lego Mindstorm education sets, and Little Bits workshop sets. Here's a full list of the sponsors contributing to this challenge. We are so grateful for their generous support and all of the resources and prizes they have provided. So, welcome to Bootcamp. So, what exactly is Bootcamp? It's a 6-week hands-on experience designed to guide your team through the process of defining a plan for your makerspace. The resources we are going to describe in this section are meant to prepare you for your blueprint submission and ultimately serve as a basis to bring your vision to life. The bootcamp is intended to help you build the plan and identify the resources needed to build out your space, even if you are not awarded prizes. As a note, after this webinar, all activities are optional. We welcome you to craft the bootcamp experience to fit your specific needs. We do encourage all teams to review the full set of lessons and resources now so you can map out and customize your plan. The CTE Makeover Bootcamp is organized around 5 core lessons and includes the following resources: webinars from experts such as Etsy Manufacturing, Makerspaces.com, and Autodesk. You'll have office hours with experts from places like Snap-on, DonorsChoose.org, and MakerEd. There are a number of readings, resources, and assignments, as well as free software from Autodesk and access to MakerEd's online community of makers. If you haven't seen already, all of the bootcamp materials are available on the Challenge website. From the bootcamp page, you can download the collected lesson plans in one PDF, or you can go to each lesson page individually. From those lesson pages, you will find links to the webinars, resources, and readings. If you are a team lead, you should have also received an email this past Monday morning at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time that contained links to the Teacher's Guide and the Bootcamp Communications Toolkit. Both of these tools are intended to help you manage and make the most of your bootcamp experience. Every week, we will be sending you an update with highlights, including office hours for the week, helpful tips, and featured resources. These updates will also be posted to the blog on the Challenge website. If you did not receive the welcome email this past Monday with the Teacher's Guide and the Communications Toolkit, we ask that you please check your spam filters and also add hello@ctemakeoverchallenge.com to your address book. We also ask that if you did not receive the welcome email, to let us know by emailing us at hello@ctemakeoverchallenge.com so that we are aware. There's a chance we can get you the materials through another email address, such as your personal email. And now I'll turn it over to my colleague, Kate Mactigger, to describe the bootcamp in more detail.
Hi everyone. So here's an overview of the topics that the bootcamp lessons will cover, and we'll go through each of these in more detail shortly. Note again that we have numbered the lessons 0 through 5, but after this webinar, all lessons are optional and can be used in whatever order you see best. So the first component of each lesson is one or more pre-recorded webinars, which are posted on YouTube. And you can access these webinars through the Challenge site within each lesson, or find them on the EdPrize's YouTube channel as one dedicated playlist. Each webinar features an expert on the topic, including some of our sponsors like MakerEd, Autodesk, Etsy, DonorsChoose, and more. All webinars are 30 minutes or less and can be watched wherever or whenever is convenient for your team. There are a lot of great materials online about makerspaces and bringing making into the classroom, but given the short amount of time we're giving you to get your plans ready, we wanted to curate these readings and resources so you can focus on what's most relevant to the task at hand. The readings provided in the lesson plans are designed to assist with the creation of your blueprint, some directly and others more broadly. The lesson plans also detail which readings are targeted at students and educators versus those that might be more useful for educators only. Although these are broad guidelines, and we leave it up to you how you want to share them with your team and your students. Each lesson includes a series of optional assignments designed to prepare your team for the blueprint submission. Now these won't be collected or assessed, but they can be great activities to do as a team. And the culmination of these assignments is the blueprint submission, and a lot of the topics that the assignments cover will get you a head start on the work ahead. So finally, as bootcamp participants, you're invited to join a series of live group office hours with the Challenge sponsors. These will be done through Google Hangouts. You'll find links to these Hangouts in the Teacher's Guide. We'll also be sending them through our weekly email, so that you'll have a reminder of what's coming up each week. Now, the office hours are designed to allow you to ask questions and hear informally from experts across the various lesson topics. If you can't make it to one of the office hours, don't worry, each session will be recorded and uploaded to the EdPrize's YouTube channel. And if you are unable to attend and you know that in advance, we invite you to share your questions via Twitter using the CT Makeover hashtag, as well as the hashtag for the lesson that the question applies to. So we will try to address those questions during the live office hour, time permitting. And when you do ask these questions, make sure they're broad enough so that a lot of schools can benefit from learning from the answers. So we're going to go into each of the lesson topics now in more detail. The first lesson is focused on making and 21st century skills. So during this lesson, we invite you to discover how making can strengthen skills that will allow students to succeed in the 21st century economy. And here are some of the example webinars and meetings that this lesson covers. Lesson 2 is focused on learning through doing, or exploring the topics and skills that can be taught using makerspaces and the project tools and materials needed. Lesson 3 is really the heart of the boot camp, and this is where you'll learn to draft the design for your makerspace, as well as identify the right tools and begin planning for construction. In Lesson 4, we focus on identifying and engaging your community, and here you'll explore ways to engage students, parents, teachers, librarians, members of the local business and tech communities, anyone in your local area who can contribute to building and sustaining your makerspace. And finally, Lesson 5 is another key component of the boot camp and of the blueprint itself. It's budgeting and resources. And here you'll make your plans for a makerspace a reality by drafting a budget and coming up with ways to gather the resources you need for your makerspace. So now let's focus on the blueprint, your next submission. The blueprint submission is an opportunity to demonstrate the progress you have made throughout the boot camp and offer concrete plans for the construction of your makerspace. Some of you may have already logged in and taken a look at the blueprint form, but for those who haven't yet, you can find this under Enter on the Challenge website and just log in using the Luminary Lightbox account from your first round submission. And you may begin and save a draft of this submission at any time, but do note that all entrants will be subject to an eligibility confirmation process that we are currently undertaking.
And we'll describe that just now in more detail. So to clarify any questions, given the large number of schools that applied, we will be verifying eligibility during the boot camp phase. So the good news is you're all part of the boot camp and are welcome to use all of the resources provided on the challenge site and sent to you via email. However, over the course of this month, Ed will be verifying your eligibility, and ineligible schools will receive an email notifying them of their status by the end of the month. We'll make sure we get in touch with all teams. And once this is complete, we will share that with all of the schools so that you know you are eligible if you haven't been notified. And if you are ineligible, we still welcome you to complete the boot camp, but you will not be eligible to receive prizes, and that will not submit a blueprint submission. So what will the blueprint form ask for? The key components will include a series of questions related to your makerspace vision, how students will interact with and benefit from the space, and aspects of your plan that set it apart from other makerspaces. Then we want you to get into your actual plans, how the space will be used, how it is built, and how it will be sustained. Next, we want to know more about your team and how you came together to create this submission. And finally, we will ask for a series of uploads, including your budget, for which we've provided a template on the submission form that you can download and use to develop your budget, as well as your floor plans, your renderings, signatures, again, from your principal and superintendent, as well as any optional media or images that you would like to share. To score your entries, the judges will be using a series of 5 core criteria for a total of 100 points, with 5 bonus points available for high-need schools. As educators, you already know how important it is to know the rubric before you start the assignment, so let's dig into these criteria. So first we have innovative. This is how your makerspace is novel, ingenious, transformative, especially in response to the constraints in your local community. And these might be economic or systemic constraints that you're working with. The second criteria is replicable. We're looking for makerspace models that can be adopted and replicated by other schools, especially schools that may have limited resources or may serve low-income communities. So keep that in mind as you think about your makerspace design. Next, we have multifunctional. Here we're looking to see how your makerspace can be utilized by a broad cross-section of students, including various grade levels, students with disabilities, multidisciplinary subjects, and CTE programs and skills. And the next criteria is feasible. So how confident are the judges in your ability to successfully implement your design, especially within the time frame that you describe and with the resources you have on hand. The last core criteria is sustainable. How effectively can your model be sustained over time, including everything from the administration and maintenance to curricular programming, teacher involvement, and community support. And also we want to see your flexibility to adapt to changing needs as well as changing technologies over time. And finally, all schools will be eligible to receive up to 5 bonus points on top of the 100 we described, and those are based on the percentage of students enrolled in free and reduced price lunch programs. So that's the addressing need criteria. Submissions are due on May 22nd at 10:59 Eastern Time. With such a large number of schools submitting, we want to emphasize the importance of submitting at least 2 hours before the deadline. We don't want any schools to miss out on these great prizes because of any technical delays or last-minute issues. But if you do encounter an issue, please email hello@ctemakeoverchallenge.com as soon as the problem occurs with a description of the error and a screenshot. And finally, we mentioned the passcode. So to be announced shortly, we will be announcing a passcode to verify your participation in this webinar, and you'll be asked to enter that at the top of your Blueprint submission form. So just make sure you write this down when we announce it in a few moments. And as soon as we're done, you can go and log into your submission form and put it in and then save that as a draft so that you don't have to go back and look for it when it comes to the deadline. So now let's talk about what happens after the Blueprint submissions and the prize awards. This summer we'll have our build-out phase during which teams are encouraged to bring their makerspaces to life. And so for honorees who receive prizes, they'll have their opportunity to use the prize money to help with this build-out. But for all schools, lessons 4 and 5 are really designed to help you gather the resources so that you can participate in the build-out as well. And at the end of the build-out phase, honorees will be asked to produce and submit a short video of their progress by September 1st for use by ED. And ED plans to share these models resulting from the challenge at World Maker Faire in New York City in October. We invite all schools to attend and join in. For honorees, you can use your prize money to attend, but we invite all schools to be there to help celebrate your progress. So now we will be announcing the passcode for your Blueprint submission form. So we recommend you write this down now, and you can add it to your submission after the webinar. And we'll come back and leave this up during the Q&A period so that you have time to write it down. Great. So now we'll open up the floor for Q&A. Please send your questions through the chat to all panelists, and we will try to answer as many as we can.
So the first one is we've actually had a question about how many schools have made it to this level. Over 600 schools are participating in the CTE Makeover Bootcamp, and all participants are going to be undergoing an eligibility process based on their first round entries, and we're starting that now. Over the course of this month, ED will be confirming your eligibility to submit a blueprint, and then the eligible schools will be notified of their status individually by the end of this month. The next question is whether or not there is a list of eligibility requirements that we can access. We would ask that you please review the eligibility section of the Federal Register notice. And specifically, an eligible entrant must either be, 1, a school that is eligible to receive funds directly under Section 314A of Perkins 4.2, so that's basically a charter school or area CTE school, or a school that is eligible to receive funds from an eligible recipient under Section 314A of Perkins 4. So that could be a local high school that receives funds from a local education agency that is eligible under Section 314A of Perkins 4. Again, this is on the challenge website, and if you have additional questions, you can send them to hello@ctemakeoverchallenge.com.
The next question we have is there a PowerPoint or document of the information in this webinar? This webinar is being recorded now and will be posted to the Ed Prizes YouTube channel, and we will notify you all through the blog when that is up and running.
So the next question is, you mentioned class lesson plans as the challenge intended to be a class project. So we encourage the team leads to put together a team that can help them prepare for the blueprint submission. If it can be a class project, we think it'd be really exciting to involve students and others in your school, but there's no requirement that it be such. The only requirement for the next round is everything that's asked for in the blueprint submission. It says, The maximum amount will be $20,000, correct? Yes, there will be up to 10 schools who each receive $20,000 in a cash award, plus the in-kind prizes that we mentioned above, which actually in total value exceed the cash award amount.
The next question is, so a public high school that receives Perkins funds should be eligible. We will be clarifying this through the eligibility review, but generally, yes, that's the short answer of what the eligibility clause means. But, you know, wait until you get your official designation or you're officially notified.
There was a question around shared community spaces qualify as a space to be transformed. If that's a shared space in your school, absolutely. It doesn't have to be a dedicated maker space. You know, we encourage mobile spaces, shared spaces, and others that can be accessed by the community.
But the space needs to be the entry needs to be sponsored by a school that is eligible. So if your high school is creating this space and will be using this space for your high school's activities, that sounds like something that would be eligible. Here we have a question, does construction or renovation need to begin or end by a certain time? We don't put any requirements on when construction begins or ends, but we hope that you will join the build-out phase and begin construction over the summer. And we invite, if you do receive prizes, we will be looking for a video walkthrough of the progress that you've made by September 1st. We understand some schools may be further along at that point than others, but we still want to see how far you've come by that point. There's a question about, are there physical maker projects the students can or should participate in along the way? Lesson 2 is really focused on projects that can happen in the classroom. So if you check out the resources there are lots of ideas for projects to get started on, and we definitely encourage you to get started in the classroom before you have the space. By no means do you need the space to do the project.
The next question is, if you don't get selected, are you still available for in-kind prizes? The entire prize purse will be provided to the up to 10 honorees that are selected, which is both the cash prize and in-kind prizes. However, the lesson around community is really intended to provide schools with some of the toolkit to reach out to the community to see if there are additional resources that the community can provide to the school.
So there's a question here, obviously the blueprints will be digital, but do they need to be official blueprints? Do we need to know how to use an app to create a blueprint? So these do not need to be in a certain software. We're actually on the submission form, we're looking for a JPEG or PDF version of whatever you come up with, but we do make available Autodesk software, and you're encouraged to use whatever tools you like, whether it is Autodesk software or SketchUp, or even if your students are working on, you know, very detailed hand technical drawings, that's fine too. We just want you to get to a point where you do have a real plan to get started.
And just to clarify, the entire second round submission, we're calling the blueprint, and in there you'll be asked for some sort of rendering of your space. But the blueprint submission itself is something you're going to fill out through Luminary Lightbox, and it's a series of questions and a series of attachments. Yeah, so to clarify about the in-kind prizes, both the in-kind prizes and the cash purse will only be going to the 10 winners that are going to be selected by the judging panel that is posted on the challenge website using the criteria that Kate walked through and that are also available on the challenge website. So we encourage you, as you get started in a boot camp, to make sure you read through the criteria carefully to understand how the submissions will be judged. We encourage you to look at the blueprint. That is now available in Luminary Lightbox. You can enter in your passcode now as well to get a sense for where you're headed, so that as you review the lesson plan, you can determine what's going to be most productive for your team to do.
So here's a question about, what if we have an existing basic makerspace but want to build it out to support more students and add more programs? Can we still compete? Definitely. We're looking for maker spaces of every kind, and if you've already gotten started but want to make improvements, you're definitely welcome. What date will the 10 winners be announced? The timeline is on the website, and on the website it says June right now, so we're going to stick to that, but we can't provide any more details than that. Should in-kind prizes be included in the budget submission? You're welcome to consider whether, if you were to win prizes, that they could, how they could be used in your space. It's not a requirement. It's not going to increase your chances of getting that prize if you include it. And we are also looking for, do you have a plan whether or not you win the prizes? So you're welcome to include some of these prizes in your budgets if this is something that you think would be helpful in your space. Is only the team leader able to access the Luminary Lightbox space, or do all team members have access? So any team members that you put on your initial submission should be able to go in and view the draft. The team leader is the only one who can make edits, but everyone can see the progress. And if you need additional team members added, you can email us at hello@ctmakeoverchallenge.com. Where the information about eligibility is listed, it's on the challenge website. There are a number of places, but on the About the Challenge section, as well as on the Rules, Terms, and Conditions section, you can find more details on the eligibility. Are we sending emails only to the team leaders? Yes, the team leads have been receiving our emails, and if we were getting bounce backs, we'll send it to a secondary team member, but as long as the team leader receives it, we're entrusting them to pass it along.
So feel free to send the email to others on your team. We are also posting the vast majority of the information to the challenge website and on the challenge blog. The one thing that won't be publicly available will be the office hours, because those are only for those schools that were invited into the boot camp.
Can the Makerspace project vary from the plan that was originally submitted? Yes, definitely. Initially, we just wanted to hear what your vision was. We definitely understand that it may change over the course of the boot camp, and we invite you to rethink, based on all the learning you do, what you initially proposed. So next question is We Are Makers case sensitive?
PASSCODE.
No, it is not case sensitive, as long as you get it in there. And clarifying where and how you need to input it, it's part of the Blueprint submission form on the challenge website under Enter, which is where you applied in the first place. It's on that same page, and once you log in with your Luminary Lightbox account, you'll see the full form, and you'll be able to put in the passcode. It's the first field. Where the webinar will be posted, this will be posted to the Ed Prizes YouTube channel. And if you haven't been able to find the last one, that is also up now on the Ed Prizes YouTube channel. If you go to the Bootcamp homepage, you can get to the Ed Prizes YouTube channel. Also on the blog, there are links to the various webinars. So, and this will be posted on the YouTube channel as well as on the blog. There was someone who's on the phone that wasn't able to get into the presentation screen. We're sorry about that. We had some capacity issues, but we have emailed out a PDF to all of the team leads of this presentation for the time being, for those who are following along on the phone. We will also be posting this video to the YouTube channel, so you'll be able to watch it, and it will include the passcode at that point.
And the passcode, for those who have been listening all along, is We Are Makers.
There's a question about, can the actual space we have in mind change? So, yes, if you decided that the space that you wanted to transform, you've actually found somewhere else in your school that's even better, you're welcome to move forward with that. We're not going to keep you to your initial proposal. The question about what are the most important qualities for a submission to have for this grant, those are the criteria that are posted on the challenge website. If you take a look at those, and also if you want to go back and rewatch the section on criteria, it's those 5 core criteria that the judges will be using, as well as that addressing need bonus points. Repeat the passcode again. It's We Are Makers. And are you going to post the answers to the questions asked today? We'll be posting the video, and it will be available on the YouTube channel.
There was a question about whether or not the judges are going to travel during the boot camp. No, the judges will be reviewing your blueprint submissions, and that's the basis for which they will be selecting the 10 honorees and awarding the prizes. And the criteria, again, are listed on the challenge website that they will be using to judge. There's more detail that was included in this presentation as well as on the website about how the criteria is defined. There's also a question about will there be any consideration given when awarding prizes to geographic location, and can multiple winners be from the same district? So we will be choosing, the judges will be selecting up to 10 award recipients based on the challenge criteria listed on the website, and there will be an additional consideration that might be given based on school size, the percentage of students enrolled in free and reduced price lunch programs, and also geographic location and local population density. So while the criteria are the main selection, the main basis on which honorees will be selected, there will be some consideration given to these different factors. So we have invited, there's a question on how many schools have passed the first round, and we are really excited to say that we have over 600 schools from all 50 states and Washington, D.C. that have been invited to participate in the boot camp. And are going to really be a part of bringing this vision of making our schools to life.
Hi, we have a question about updating your school info. Any updates that you have to the stats that you inputted in your first round submission, you can email into hello@ctemakeoverchallenge.com, and we can make the updates to your previous submission.
There's a question around the outside of the normal eligibility criteria, if there are other disqualifying factors that we should be aware of. All of the specific eligibility requirements are in the rules, terms, and conditions. So beyond the school eligibility, ensuring that nobody is directly connected to the administrators of this challenge. I believe there are a few others in there, so I would recommend that you look at the rules, terms, and conditions.
There's a question on the budget spreadsheet to whether you should indicate expenses that you've already incurred. No, you should just indicate any expenses that are new, and this applies to everything across the budget. Don't worry about expenses that you incur as a school, no matter whether the makerspace exists or not. Really just focus on the new expenses that would result as a part of this construction. A question about the eligibility verification process. We have everything we need from you at this point, so this will just be an internal process happening within the Department of Ed. So you don't need to do anything, but we will be notifying you once the results are up.
We don't expect, based on our initial review, that there will be many people who are participating in the boot camp that will be ineligible. But we will let you know if that is the case. Okay, if there are no other questions, thank you so much for joining this webinar. We apologize for all the technical issues. The full webinar with audio will be available on the website in the coming days. And we wish you the best of luck in the boot camp and look forward to seeing your final submissions.